What's going on, guys? I'm Bill and welcome to Bill's How To. Today I'm going to show you guys how to figure out exactly which hinge it is that you need to buy in order to replace your hinge. In this case here, we're working on the vanity in the bathroom, but whether it's your kitchen cupboards, your cabinets, your pantry, most of the time they're going to be using the exact same hinges as these, and there's 5 main different types that you need to know about in order to replace it. So today I'm going to show you guys, hopefully get this question out of the way so that you guys can just get out there, know exactly which hinge it is that you need to buy, because that honestly is the most difficult part in replacing the hinges. So today I'm going to show you guys how to figure out which hinge it is that you need and then how to replace it. Let's get straight into it. Let's do this. Alright guys, so there's 5 main different types of hinges that you guys will pretty much run into in your lifetime. We're going to look at all 5 of them today, but the absolute most common one is this one right here. It's called a full overlay. Not sure if you guys can see that. Full overlay is the position of this hinge here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually remove this door so that I can illustrate it a little bit better, and once you understand the first one, the rest of them should hopefully fall in line and it'll pretty much stay in your head for the rest of your life. So if not, keep this video, save it, because I'll guarantee you guys one day you will need this information, and that is the most difficult part of replacing the hinges, is figuring out which hinge it is that you need to buy. Like I said, this one here is the most common. Pretty much 90% of the time, you will be using a full overlay hinge to replace a hinge. All these cupboards here are all using full overlay hinges. Even in the kitchen, same thing, they're all using full overlay hinges, apart from 2 doors, which I'm gonna show you guys once we get up to those. So I'm gonna remove this door here so I can illustrate this just a little bit better for you guys. But basically what we're looking at is the closed position of this cupboard door or this cabinet door in compared to this side panel here. This side panel, known as the carcass or the end panel or whatever it is that you guys want to call it, wherever the end section of the hinge is screwed into, okay, this is what we're looking at. When we close this door here, we want to basically see how much overlap there is on that actual panel, or if it's offset or inset to the actual panel itself. So let me remove this door here and I'll show you guys exactly what I mean. Alright guys, so now that we've got this door off, it's a lot easier to see this end panel that I was talking about. Generally they're about 16 millimeters thick, and what we're looking at is how much overlap this door has onto this little panel here, or if it's actually sitting off this little end panel. Okay, so a full overlay hopefully is a little bit obvious in the name. Full is the best way to think about it, because it's going to have full coverage. It's going to have a complete overlap of this little end panel here. So the door will actually be sitting completely overlapping this end panel. That is what is called a full overlay hinge. That is the most common hinge out there, guys. I'll quickly show you guys through the kitchen. There's a whole stack of different doors and they're all full overlay. So if we have a look at the edge of the pantry, you can see there, it's got a complete coverage over this end panel. That means these ones here are full overlay. If we have a look, all these top cabinets up here, exactly the same. They all have full coverage over the edge of the cupboard. That's why I'm saying these ones here are the absolute most common. We run down the bottom, exactly the same. Full overlay, full overlay, full overlay. This one here we'll get into in a second, and that is it for the kitchen. So now that we understand exactly what full overlay means, there shouldn't be any prizes for what half overlay means. So when we have a look, the next most common hinge we've got here is half overlay. So what that means is the cupboard door will be sitting half overlapped. Now if you have a look through your kitchen, pantry, your cupboard doors, your vanity, your bathroom cupboards, you can actually go through and pretty much put all of these to the test and determine exactly which hinge you need. Now a half overlay will look exactly like this. You'll be able to see half the cupboard from behind if there's nothing on the side here, but generally a half overlay hinge is used when this little panel here is actually accommodating to 2 doors. So there'll be a hinge on this side, a hinge on the other side, and what they'll have is pretty much half and half on each side. So the door will overlap half over this panel for this side, half over that side for that panel. That is called a half overlay. The next one we're looking at is called an inset. They're not very common, to be 100% honest. Probably the third most, or the least most common hinge out of this whole pile here. So we've got inset. Okay, inset basically means it's going to be sitting right on the edge of that end panel. So it'll be sitting exactly like this, usually flush inside with this end panel. So if we imagine this one here, it'll be sitting like that, guys. So the hinge will be positioned inside, also on the back of this door, and it'll be sitting off the or completely off this little end panel here. Now that is the 3 most common hinges that I've got right here. The next 2 that we're going to be looking at is a dead giveaway, especially when you have a look, you'll be able to determine straight away exactly what these hinges are. Now the last 2 hinges all revolve around this corner door right here. If we open this one here up, there's a hinge on this side and a hinge on the back side. So this huge looking monstrous transformer looking kind of hinge is your corner hinge. This is the biggest hinge, bulkiest hinge that you'll find. Very easy to determine that this one here is actually the corner hinge. It usually has a very huge radius, okay, usually around 160 or so degrees. So we want this door to be able to open all the way out so that you can gain access to the inside of that cupboard. The last hinge is this one right here, which is called a bifold. So usually with these corner cupboards, you'll have your main door that sits on the corner hinge. Then we're gonna have the bifold hinge right here. So these 2 here are the last 2 out of the 5 most common hinges, guys. Let's install the other one and hopefully that's gonna wrap everything up for you guys. All right, guys, so to replace this, like I said, this is probably the most simplest part of this whole procedure. The main purpose of this video was pretty much to determine which hinge it is that you guys need. When you go to the local hardware store, there's literally probably 50 different styles and different makes and different sizes and angles and everything like that. It makes it really daunting and a difficult task that shouldn't be very difficult at all. So that is the purpose of this video, guys. When it comes to installing the hinges, you can do it in any way that you feel most comfortable. It really depends on the size of the door, how many hinges, how much weight, if you can do it with one hand while operating the drill with the other hand. So it really just depends on exactly what it is that you're dealing with. So with this one here, it's a fairly straightforward, easy kind of door, very small. So we're gonna just slot these ones here in. This one here is a very similar style to the last one, so we're gonna be able to line up with the existing holes. So once they're lined up, I'll just simply take my screws. So I'll just move this one here out of the way, screw these ones here in place. You don't want to over tighten these. Same thing on the bottom, making sure, once again, line that up with the existing holes. And then we can screw those ones in as well. So we'll line up our hinges with our existing holes. The old hinges had 2 different positions for these screw holes. This one here, we're using the original holes. So it really depends on the type of hinge that you've picked up. We'll just screw this one here in. We'll line up the bottom one as well, hand tight initially. That way we can put the drill straight where we need it. And then our last 2 screws. And once that's done, your hinges are now complete. Everything's ready to go. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. As always, like, comment and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Bill. Thanks for watching Billshowto.